With me finally having some time to settle down from the emotions that happened in Thunderbolts, I think it's finally time for me to talk about my favorite character from that movie, and also one of my favorite characters in this new phase of Marvel. And that is Yelena. Ever since she first showed up in Black Widow, I knew she was gonna be one of my favorites. Seeing how far she's come in Thunderbolts, I can definitely say that I chose the right hero to be in love with, because god damn it, her character arc in these 3 times that she's shown up, from Black Widow to Hawkeye and now to Thunderbolts, is, I think, beautiful. In this video, I'm gonna go over Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Thunderbolts, and we will see how much Yelena changed from each one. Starting with Black Widow, of course. So, when we first meet Yelena in Black Widow, we see that she's constantly fighting with everyone, including her family, which includes Natasha, one that she likes the most from her family. Even though Natasha is part of the Avengers, a group that Yelena is extremely skeptical of. Which isn't so weird given what her childhood has been, being trained to be a living weapon, pretty much. And the Avengers, as much as they help people, they also, one could argue that they are themselves living weapons. From Yelena's childhood, the only happy memories she has is the ones that are fake, the ones that she had with her fake family. She doesn't want those memories tarnished, even though she knows that a lot of those moments weren't exactly real. And because of that, she clings to them and also has resentment for the people involved, mostly towards Alexei, and being very hostile to him. Despite the circumstances that she grew up in, she does care about her fellow Black Widows, and she wants to rescue them at all cost, even evolving being much more ruthless than Natasha would like, and that Natasha herself is. Despite Natasha trying to get her to see the brighter side of things, Yelena has a very, very bleak look at the world. Even though, yes, she does love her sister very much, she also has a lot of disagreements with her. We see that all throughout this movie. This movie is where I feel like her sarcastic and snarky nature is most prominent. She does have it in Hawkeye, she does have it in Thunderbolts, but I think as she gets more, I guess, respect for the people around her, she kind of tones this down. She also tones down the amount of ruthlessness she has. Even though, yes, she still wants to complete every mission at any cost, she, in Black Widow at least, she doesn't really seem to plan ahead for much afterwards, and seems pretty empty, without a purpose, without these missions, something that we see ramped up in Thunderbolts. But in Black Widow, she still has those important connections to her. She wants to reconnect with Natasha. She wants to reconnect with her mom and dad, despite some of the bad memories involved with them. Also, one interesting point about Black Widow, this is the first time that we've shown that, yes, Yelena likes to drink, which again will be important in Thunderbolts. But I digress. Speaking of Natasha, we all know what happens to Natasha. Out of everyone, the 2 people this has affected the most is, of course, Clint and Yelena, which is why we will now jump to Hawkeye. In Hawkeye, Yelena is blinded by anger and the need for revenge. This anger, we as the viewer know, is misplaced, and I think it shows how easily manipulated she is because of grief, something that we know that Yelena resents because of her experiences in the Red Room. Despite this anger, we still see some bright sides to her, especially when they were with Kate, as she seems to draw out this, I guess, sunshine personality. In Black Widow, I forgot to mention this, in Black Widow, even though, yes, Yelena was very driven, she was also happier. In Hawkeye, there's barely any of that happiness left, as all she has is anger. She's angry at Clint, of course, driven by her mission to kill him. She tells Kate that she doesn't think the Avengers did any good because they were the ones who let her sister die. And yet everyone calls them heroes. And this is also very much directed at Clint because he was the one closest to her on that mission at least. And also we know that they were very good friends. Yelena is shown to have a moral compass. She is. She didn't want to hurt Kate even though they were fighting. She wanted Kate to stay out of the way and stop trying to be a hero. Because she doesn't like heroes, she knows what happens to heroes. She knows how it can break people and also break those closest to heroes. She seems very resistant to them, genuinely enjoys Kate's company. Therefore, we know that she isn't completely 100% depressed just yet. But we also see that her happiness seems tied to the people around her rather than herself. This was the case with Natasha, this was the case with Kate, and this was also the case with her team later in Thunderbolts. And one thing I will also mention here at the very end that I feel like is important for her arc later. She doesn't seem to understand how other widows could possibly settle down and move on with their lives. How they could live a life away from being assassins, because for Yelena, her missions are still her only purpose. Doubly so now that Natasha is gone. And by the time we see her again in Thunderbolts, she feels numb, even while going on these missions. She no longer feels like she has any purpose in life and wants to quit working for Valentina. She constantly says that she feels empty, which is tied also to her depression, which is also tied to the drinking problems she's had in the past. In fact, these problems seem to have gotten so bad that at one point she passed out in the bathroom drinking. The good news is that she seemingly quit. And when she fought against that illusion of herself, the illusion tried to make her drink out of a bottle, and Yelena was resistant to that. She also seems a bit more resistant to being just an assassin, since she told Valentina she wanted a more public life, away from the assassin business. But even then, she didn't know what that life would look like, as she later tells to Alexei that she's all alone and she hates it. She wants to have people around her, but she doesn't know how to ask for other people to be with her. She doesn't know how to approach other people. She doesn't know how to have friends. She doesn't know how to have a functioning team around her because she's always been alone. And we also see that she's a bit of a hypocrite at this point. She was angry with Alexei for not reaching out to her, but we also know that she hasn't been reaching out to the people around her. Not her family, not Clint, and not Kate, who she did say she would then get drinks with, and I'm still waiting for that to happen, god damn it. The one thing that Yelena is shown to not want is for anyone else to feel as alone, as empty as she does. She does have heroic tendencies, she just doesn't realize it, at least not over the course of Black Widow and over the course of Hawkeye. She does start to realize it a bit by the end of Thunderbolts, as she would have helped rescue Bob no matter what, even at the cost of her own life, a trait that she definitely shares with Natasha. She wants to do good, but she doesn't really know how to do that. She didn't even know she wanted to be a hero in the first place. And by the time she finally started to bond with people and letting them into her life, we see a much brighter side to her start to come out again. The Thunderbolts and Bob are now her friends, someone who she can rely on, as dysfunctional as they are. And we finally see Yelena happy to be part of a team, no longer doing things alone, being alone. Even though that team is full of broken people. But they do also say that the broken people can attract broken people. And Thunderbolts, even though, yes, they are broken and screwed up, they all have each other. And by the time this movie ends, I think Yelena does realize how important that friendship is. I think she's gonna start to understand Natasha a lot better now. I think she's gonna understand why Natasha did what she did, why she sacrificed herself not only for her team and for her friends, but for the world. And I really hope that Yelena doesn't do the same. Like I said, she's my favorite. I really don't want her to die, especially since she's also the de facto leader of the new Avengers. But given how most other leaders of the Avengers ended up, I wouldn't be surprised if something happens to Yelena. Please no, Marvel, I'm looking at you. Please no. Just let my girl live. Let her be happy. For once in her life, she's finally at a place in her life when she's not depressed, when she's not sad all the time, when she doesn't have drinking problems, apparently, and she finally started to accept the fact that people want to be around her and that she wants to have people around her as well. She finally has friends, so for the love of God, please don't kill her and let her and Kate go and get that drink, because you cannot have a Black Widow without a Hawkeye. With that, I'm putting my hopes into Marvel, and remember, don't just consume, think.